After years of enduring the silent cruelty of my husband's sister, I finally reclaimed my home and my peace. This is the story of how a bully lost her power the moment I stopped playing the victim. From the very afternoon of the wedding, the groom's sister made it clear I was an unwanted intruder in her family's legacy. While the mother-in-law offered polite smiles, the daughter-in-law's siblings sharpened her tongue like a blade, carving out little pieces of my confidence every time we met. My spouse's relative would walk into our kitchen uninvited, lifting pot lids to criticize the salt in the soup or looking at my professional attire with a sigh of performative pity. For 3 long years, the brother's wife, me, simply lowered her head, swallowing the insults to keep the peace for the sake of the husband. The psychological warfare of the sister-in-law was relentless. She would accidentally forget to invite me to group chats or post photos of family gatherings where my face was cropped out. When the spouse's sibling spoke to the brother, she referred to me as that girl, or his mistake, as if I were a temporary guest in my own marriage. The antagonist's goal was simple: to make me feel small enough to vanish. The tension finally reached its breaking point during a formal dinner hosted at our home. The sister-in-law sat at the head of the table, loudly mocking my recent promotion to the father-in-law, painting my hard work as a stroke of unearned luck. The rest of the bloodline watched in uncomfortable silence, picking at their food as the bully's voice grew sharper. When the husband's sister finally reached over to physically slide my dinner plate away, claiming I wasn't refined enough for the prime seat, the air in the room curdled. I didn't yell, and I didn't cry. Instead, I stood up slowly and gripped the wrist of the spouse's sibling, pinning her hand to the mahogany table. I forced the bully to meet my gaze until the smirk slid off her face. In a voice as cold as iron, I informed the sister-in-law that while she was a daughter by birth, I was the woman who built this household, and the brother's wife was finished being her footstool. I told the antagonist that if she couldn't show basic respect in the home I paid for, the sister-in-law was no longer welcome to step foot across the threshold. The room went deathly cold. The father-in-law looked away in shame, and the husband finally stood, placing a supportive hand on his partner's shoulder. Realizing her audience had finally evaporated and her power was a ghost, the sibling of my spouse gathered her coat and fled the house in a fit of hysterical tears. She hasn't dared to call or visit since that night, and for the first time in years, the silence in my home feels like a victory. Subscribe for more.